want you to download it, send it on the group so that we see what are you creating. It's just going to create an 8-second video on whatever you choose. You have to describe your prompt, and if you want to see the prompting guide, then you can search for Vertex video prompting guide. This shows you a different set of prompts that you can. What is the context that you require? So context is the background of context, a satellite floating through outer space with moon. Then action, a wide shot of a woman walking along the beach, looking content. So you would have to decide on what are we prompting this with. People are creating videos, people are creating even movie with this, if they have a paid model. So our limit is 8 seconds, but with API access, the limit goes up. I'm just sharing what are the prompt types that you can use by creating your video. It can be a wide shot, it can be a close-up, it can be a drone shot. I sent something on the flow that was the static image of me, but I asked it to create a drone shot which would show that from an aerial perspective, zooming in on the buildings as we move. I hope this is available to all of you. AI Studio पे video generation. What you have to check for is this is AI Studio. You are talking about video generation. You have to log in with your Google account, of course. Personal is better instead of the official. For AI Studios or Google.com. गोविंद ने प्रॉम्प्ट लिखना शुरू किया है बहुत फास्ट.
सर लॉगिन नहीं हो रहा.
Share it on the group, download it, put it on WhatsApp, so that we see what all kind of videos people are generating. अच्छा, अगर आपको एक्सेस का इशू आ रहा है तो ओपन इट यूजिंग योर पर्सनल जीमेल अकाउंट, नॉट दी ऑफिशियल, बिकॉज व्हाट अकाउंट वी वर्क ऑन दे आर एंटरप्राइज अकाउंट्स. एंटरप्राइज अकाउंट्स पे all the services which AI usually provide, they are paid or they are rolled out later. So this is rolled out for the personal services wherever you are using. If you have a personal Gmail account, that would work with it instead of your official email. आगे वो जो Okay, one more thing, because Monica ma'am just pointed, you try to give it some words which she might not like. She was trying to create a baby in the mother's arms. Regard it as unsafe or unethical and block it. If your prompt is blocked, try changing some keywords that what you are giving to it, because there are too many guardrails. Some of them we created. You can share it on the WhatsApp with the prompt. Okay. What I want you to do is please share the video along with the prompt that you generate on the WhatsApp. अगर आपका prompt नहीं चल रहा है because of prompt, please changing it to something very safe. They are of course safe prompt, but when you talk about kids or children, Google automatically blocks. I don't know why. So if I want to create 16 seconds, I can create 2 videos, put them together using Canva or any other video editor that continuity maintains. But this is a very expensive proposition. I'll show you. So far what we have been doing is we are using all tools which are free of cost. Alright? So we haven't paid anything. But we as an institute, we did pay something. Now, we got to a paid account from co.com just to understand and just to make sure all of you understand that what we are getting free of cost across different set of tools. They are very expensive models, video generation specifically. I'll show you co.com, what it is. I just need your attention for a very short while. Vodafone is an account that we purchased just to make sure that whatever models we did not have access to because they were big, that we can now access. So it's an aggregator kind of service which would be allowing you access to official boards. You want to see these are the boards that it can work on. Cloud, GPT 4.1, O3, no, O3, GPT 4.1 are not available on ChatGPT present. They are on the API service or they are on the Pro. But for this, we will be able to use. Similarly, there are apps which are for image generation. We see all of the image generation apps are available. We can give a prompt to be able to run it. The thing is that let us check out one. So for Flux, it says you would require 2000 points to run one prompt. Right? And give the cost also for the breakup that you understand. For Flux image generation, it is costing you 2000 points to run one prompt. For a GPT, for a query that we will run on, let us say, GPT 4.1, it just says 228 plus points. That means the query may be longer, it may take a little more points than 228. So for the text generation, our points were 228. For the image generation, a single prompt is costing us 2000 points. What would video go to? For video, it says 37,000 points to run one query. The comparison is, for Gemini, it was talking about 8 points only. For ChatGPT 4.1, it was 228 points. For Flux image generation, it was 2000 points. For VO2, every single prompt that you run is 37,000 points. Our tool is something like, it's an aggregator. We paid 20,000 rupees for 1 year and it gives you 1 million points per month. So it's not that we wouldn't be able to afford it. We can generate using video too. We can use any of the models there. But I'm just giving you comparative cost analysis of how costly your large language model generation is, or how costly your text to image, then image to video. That expenses keep on going up with what is the mode that we are generating in. Second, it also depends on which model are you using. ChatGPT 3 might be very less expensive as compared to ChatGPT 4.1 because they have advanced reasoning capabilities which they have incorporated in the previous model. So whenever you are using Claude, for instance, Claude 3.7, the credits are very fast moving. That you will give it a simple problem statement, it is going to consume all and it would eventually say, today's quota is over, come tomorrow. That happens many times with Claude. With ChatGPT, if you are using reasoning model, if you have attached a file, it automatically goes to a higher model. Then if you are asking it enough number of queries, it would block you for 2 or 3 hours, that you can ask it a question only after 2 or 3 hours again. The reason why it happens. So the reason why this happens is that they are all basically trying to save money. They want to capture audience also. It's not going to remain free for all the time to come. After you got addicted to Google, Gmail, how many people created a Gmail account 15 years back? All of your accounts are full. Right? You would be either now paying or you will start filtering that what data to remove. But now they have come to the term that yes, now we can ask people to pay because they are used to it. So if you get used to ChatGPT for that matter, eventually you will start paying. That is the model they are working on. How they are affording so much money to burn today for a company like Google or OpenAI. OpenAI was saying that we need to raise $500 billion as funding to keep our operation running or make it better or create new products. 500 billion US dollars funding they were seeking from the people who would fund them. They take some amount back as investors. So today whatever we are working on is investors' money. We are burning investors' money. Majority of the models that you use, nobody is burning their own. If I would create a small product which uses any of these products, okay, second part, I'll try to elaborate it further. What if you have to create a chatbot? You have to create a chatbot for say law or for say business model or something which is specific to a problem. You would not be able to use ChatGPT or any other model as it is. You would require to create a front end, a website. You would require to connect that website to a model using API. So API or the application programming interface would allow you to send your query to the model, return the answer back to your website that you can show. Correct? First part of the service when we are using their own website is free. But if I have to make a specific website which allows me to create a specific type of application and I am using API, nobody is giving it free. No API is free, neither OpenAI nor Gemini, nobody is giving you the API access free of cost because that is where they earn from. If I have to create a wrapper application, I call them wrapper application. My fundamental is the LLM, like OpenAI, like Gemini, like Claude. They are my fundamental. I create an application on the top of it using API to get data from the fundamental. That would always be paid because there I am also trying to make money. I can't use ChatGPT to make money directly. But I create on the top of ChatGPT a lawyer which would be able to give me legal advice about any matter that I want to work with. That becomes a wrapper application because at the core there is ChatGPT model. On the top of it, I had created a lawyer application that I am trying to sell to other people because those who are interested, they would be buying them, those who have use for it. And for that, when I am having API access, I would always require to pay. So that is the basic economics of why, how these models are created, sold, used, how do people make money out of them. If I am a layman, I might create an application which is a wrapper application. I can make money, but I will also be paying money. Third party, whosoever model I am using. Right? There comes another thing that some models are open source, some models are proprietary. So Meta made the model called Llama. Llama is open source. You can run it without having to pay much because they don't charge for it. But anybody who is hosting Llama for you, you will have to pay for that. I repeat. Each one of these services, like you ran a prompt with video generation, it would burn some money to compute that image generation or video generation or text generation, whatever is happening. It would have to use some compute to create that. That computation has a cost, and that computation cost is the one that we are supposed to be paying for. If we can run it locally on our own machine, we might not have to pay anything. But to run it locally on my own machine, the model should be open source. That I have the model, its weights all available. I can download the model, I can download some supporting software, connect them together. I do not have internet and I still want to use ChatGPT. It works. Right? So the second thing which we wanted to talk about today was something that we Julius. Julius would be useful to you if you are a researcher, any domain. Because half of the time, the problem that we face is I have data, I have collected data, or I might not have. Even if you are using a LLM to create or collect data from some sources, LLM like Perplexity, or I would never use this thing called ChatGPT for data collection, because ChatGPT hallucinates. If it does not know data, it would create some fake data, give it to you as an answer. So ChatGPT is the worst when you are trying to collect facts and statistics. The best that you can use there is Perplexity. Perplexity AI is something which has to ground its answers in actual sources where the data is coming from. It would give you the sources also, where is the data coming from. Right? So let us say I have a CSV file which I want to know. We'll start with absolutely raw CSV file. It may have all the types of problems. There may be missing values. Right? There may be outliers. I want to check out how my file works. So Julius does what? Julius.ai आपको 15 queries free of cost देगा. 15 after you create a free account. When you want to purchase the credit, it is like 750 rupees for academics, which would give you 250 queries per month. Alright? So it's not very expensive if you want to use this. So I asked the Julius people wisely that I am running a workshop. I need credits to take some sessions. They sent me 6 weeks worth of code that I can use with it. But still, if I had to buy, I would have purchased the credits. It's not very expensive for the work that you are going to do. If you want to give me a CSV file, I'll take, or I'm just taking one from my machine which I have downloaded. So you can create on new text. It becomes your interface. I need to attach a file here. I have attached to it a file which is prediction of loan, whether you would get a loan or not based on certain characteristics. What is your income? What is the co-applicant's income? How many kids do you have? What is your age? What is your credit worthiness? On the basis of which you will be able to actually ascertain whether the person should get a loan or not. So it's a classification kind of model where we are trying to find out whether this person whose characteristics are given should be given a loan or not, or how do banks find out that. Normally the process, when the process is manual, the bank manager is going to test all the parameters. What were the previous loans you had taken? Have you paid them? Did you pay them in time? What is your income? Do you have a collateral, some house or some property which you can put against the loan? So they will decide it on the manual thought process. Machine learning does what? I give it, like for the last 2000 loans that the bank approved, the characteristics of the applicants were these. The age was this, the income was this, and the loan was approved because the loan amount was given. Or the age was this, the income was that, and the loan amount was not approved. So I have a lot of data from the bank that says 2000 people who were approved or denied based on their characteristics. I am now trying to find a pattern. For my machine to learn would be what? I give it to my ML algorithm. My ML algorithm is going to try and find the pattern that which people were denied. Why were they denied? Were they too old? Or their income was too less? Or any parameter that what was the thought in the manager's mind that why did they deny? I want to replicate it all in a machine. Alright. So this is the status table that I have. So you have a loan ID, gender, whether the person is married or not, number of dependents, education, self-employed, applicant income. Which one of the parameters is important? Out of these, which do you think is important? If you were the manager of the bank, would you approve the first loan or not? The person is a graduate, male, not married, not self-employed, income is 5849, let us suppose that is $8. Asking for a loan amount which is down to 350 or 36 months, and then the credit history is approved. That means previously he had taken a loan but had returned it. Would you as a banker approve this loan or not? Yes. Yes, majority. He had a property in the urban area, the loan status is here. For the second, however, the same person is a graduate but has one dependent. Applicant income is low. There is a co-applicant also. The person is married. The loan amount is lesser, but their banker decides that I would not give you because you have a dependent. So anything may be something like that. I am looking at the data. The first thing that we need to do with any data set, whenever we are doing it, we do exploratory data analysis. We try to find out are there missing values in our data or not. Okay, so let us ask this. So my is at the bottom of the screen. What I am asking it is, you can all log in if you want to. I am asking what is the quality of my data. Are there missing values? Give me a summary and visualize. Later impute the missing values and show the table again. I am trying to combine as many things in this query as possible because the number of queries are that's what matters. It does not say what is the length of your query. Alright? So let us try. So what Julius does is, this approach is called code act. Code and act. Unlike large language models, which would try to find data from text, what it does, it breaks your query into something it can convert into program. So it codes your problem into parts and then acts on that coded part. So it automatically first creates a Python program as a code for the query that you have asked. So your query was containing 3 or 4 different aspects. It is going to create a program which takes into care all of the aspects, creates a program, checks whether the program is correct or not, and then it runs your query. So after it runs your query, it is going to show that these are the missing values after imputation. This is the new table after imputation. This is before the imputation happened. So missing values in each column were gender were 13 missing values, dependents were 15 missing values, self-employed were 32, co-applicant income was a low amount was 22 missing values and so forth. I did not want all of these missing values. How do you change a missing value into a value? If I have categorical data, like majority of the applicants are male, there are few females, and the gender column some value is missing. So I will try to impute it with a male value because I see the mode of my statistical data. Whichever value is more occurring in categorical data, I can fill in there. Majority of the people were from Delhi. There are some from some other state. So if the state is not mentioned, I prefer.
So manually we have to fill the missing data. You are asking us to fill the data manually in the Excel sheet.
You can do it. See, why would you do that? The question is, my data set is having only 600 rows. You can do that. What if my data set had 60,000 rows? So imputation is, I might replace all the values where there is an applicant income not available by the mean of the applicant income. So I would have an average value there so that it would still be counted. If there are only a few rows where there is missing data, I can simply remove those rows also because eventually I need to find a pattern. So out of 6,000 records, if I delete 50, it's not going to matter much. So that is again another way. Secondly, it shows me the summary statistics that total 614 records are there, 614 unique. From there are only 2 genders, there are only married or unmarried, the dependent can be 0 to 4, the education is either educated or not, and likewise. It also tells me what is the mean applicant income because this would be required. If I have an applicant income missing somewhere, I might replace it with the mean value or the median value. So that is again feasible. Then it creates a heat map for the missing values or where are the values missing in my data set. It also does key findings. The data set has 614 entries. Several columns have missing values out of which credit history is the most problematic. Correct? This was my first task that I wanted to check whether or not my data is having values which are missing. I have cleared the missing values also. Right? Now you want to do a distribution analysis of the data that how are my different ज़्यादा technical हो जाए तो please रोक देना.
data are correlated, we can draw heat map.
You ask me query, it's better that the same data set is with everyone. So you ask me a query, or you can type in the query there. Please go, run. But I don't want to be like that. This is a query which only I can, or I have to think. Come ahead, type a query, whatever you want to ask this data set, and you have to announce what are you trying to find out. Just click once. So she's saying draw heat map. Pura type. Okay. I'll type it for you. Just let me know what you want to. Achha, it's a correlation heat map of the numeric variable. Let it come. I hope this is what you wanted to do. So she just drew a correlation heat map of the numeric variable. That which numeric variable is related to the other numeric variable and what is the impact of it. So applicant income is correlated to the loan amount and the positive correlation. The value is 0.57. That means it is significantly important that the loan amount and applicant income are correlated. Co-applicant income is not so related with it. Right? When you see what you see on the diagonal is that to itself every value would be correlated. Right? So wherever you have a high value, loan amount to applicant income, when the credit history to loan amount is not shown here. Ideally this is important. As a person who is dealing with loans all the time, you would always want to understand what is the credit history before assigning a loan. Right? Instead of this, what I would do is, in ML, I would try to ask my data which features are the most important instead of this. Okay, let us ask that. So my machine learning pipeline goes like, I would fetch the data, I would clean it. Okay. Just let me run one query.
Credit history was categorical, which I credit history was categorical data series and once they are. So अभी correlation आता है.
What is the feature important in my data set? Explain and visualize. My target is loan sales. It would do again, create a Python code. This is what we used to do before we had access to these tools. What it says is the feature importance is represented mathematically also, and it is also showing the feature importance in the terms of a visual graph where credit history is the most important, followed by applicant income, followed by loan amount, followed by co-applicant income, property area, gender, self-employed, education, or whether the person is married or dependent is very low on the scale. So any banker would be looking at these parameters first because these are the important features and these are the less important features which should be working with. Right? So your question was? You can.
Just type the method name.
Come on.
To find out the feature, best feature to my
You might be knowing more about data analysis as compared to me. I am not the data analysis person. I am a jugaad person. That you give me a problem, I'll try to find what can be the solution to that by any means. I might apply one tool or the other or replace one with another. I don't care how the solution comes, but that allows me to learn through a lot of. So, sir has asked the mutual importance. Right. I would preferably give, whenever you are running a prompt, one rule of thumb is your prompt should be as detailed as possible. Otherwise, you are running credits without getting much information back. Okay. So I would now do one thing. I would I would ask it to use 3 machine learning models. If not ML, would you want to say how do you do it in SPSS or something? SEM can we apply structured equation modeling to try and find I'll go by what I know. Long question. I have asked to apply 3 ML models to the data set. Use SVM, scalable support vector machine, logistic regression, and random forest to predict loan status. Also give confusion matrices and the AOC ROC curve. This is my language. So if you are into business modeling or business statistics and this does not match, you would certainly have some counter way of working. So this created 3 ML models. It created the AUC score of this. It said logistic regression performs slightly better. Both of them are comparable. It should have given me a graph also. AUC is area under the curve. Area under the curve is a parameter which says that the model which is best out of them would have the most area under itself in the curve. Any model which is close to this line, if it was closing to this line, then it was probabilistic, 50% chance. If a model is going, however higher my model is going above this line, the more area is below this curve, the better my model is to classify. Is the basic ROC analysis. Okay. I want to now create graphs on what was the training versus testing data. It can be anything. Pick up a data set. You need not know Python. How many of you work with R? You can choose your runtime to R and do the same analysis. It would not code in Python, it would code in a different programming language, but it would still do the same task as you prompt it to do. Right? So if you are shy of writing a research paper because you believe that who would draw the graph, what would the analysis would be like, how should I do the analysis? In fact, I should have asked it in the beginning. Which ML model should I use to analyze this data? If I ask it that, it would give you that also. That which is the best suitable model to this type of data that we are bringing in. what kind of analysis should I do, what kind of visualization should I create, and after that then you can start modeling. The second good part is that it also gives you whatever you have done so far, but you can copy the code, make variation to the code, learn from the code that what code did it create, and that should work fairly good. Now all of this can be done in Gemini, ChatGPT, everywhere, but not with this video. It is combining several tasks that you would do with ChatGPT. I want to clean my data. You have to be very precise on what is the kind of instruction that you want to give. This does prompt engineering by itself also. So when such said mutual importance, ChatGPT would not have given you an answer. But with this, it understood what is the intent of the person based on what is the data set that you are using, and it analyzes it well. I have not tried working with multiple CSV files yet, but I'll find something. If in case somebody is worrying that what happens when we have 2 files or 3 files and we want to bring the data together, or we have to analyze them with respect to each other, it doesn't work with Julius, not yet. Sir, please try. What I am saying is, everybody has a data set that you might be working on. Upload it, try it once. You would spend 5 or 6 queries to actually get on that point of your research which you took a long time to do previously. Now why not try it? Alright, so this is why we work with this tool. Best for EDA, exploratory data analysis, when you want to see what is the quality, what are the parameters that are missing, how do I clean up my data, all of that can be easily done. Very good for modeling when you are talking about machine learning or any statistical analysis models. So if you say chi-square test or if you say any other, that should be able to handle fairly easily and very well, and visualize it also. Right? If you have a survey that you want to analyze and you ask it that what is the best way to analyze this survey data that I have, it would be able to tell you that what was the best way. I'll run your question. Okay. What I have asked is, in ML what we do is, we do a hyperparametric tuning. I have given it an algorithm, specific algorithm, which I want to apply to hyperparametric tuning. I have also told it I want to minimize RMSE, and I have asked it to first install. Now it might make an error, but it has to recover from the error itself. It would install the required software, create code for hyperparameter tuning, tell me which are the parameters which I have to optimize, what is the optimal value for which it would work best, and what RMSE change that happens after that optimization is achieved. And we do the cross verification for that. that you have worked with. The success depends on what is the domain knowledge that you have. I would not be able to take data from the strength of material for mechanical for that instance and ask intelligent questions to work with it. I can't do that. Or if you are in business domain and you want to do some ROI analysis on the basis of what is the previous market rent, I cannot do that because I do not know what to ask. So this would work best with what you know. What data do you have? Is it relevant? The kind of questions which you are going to ask, they are relevant to the data. And you know the domain well. That works very, very good for you. But if not for that, then whatever prompt we are going to do, they are wasted. Or we ask, give it a data set and ask what kind of analysis should I apply on this first. Or I do another thing, I may simply upload the data to Gemini or ChatGPT. I want to use this data for my PhD thesis. What kind of analysis should I apply to this data? That also, which tool to use it, you already know. This query ran for a quite lengthy process. Code would now require optimization, optimuna, hyperparameter doing everything that would be done. It would start doing the process. So how many of you feel that we as teachers are going to be irrelevant soon? Who have thought statistics before this? Statistical analysis ये वाले नहीं चाहिए सर not that anybody machine learning कौन कौन पढ़ा रहा था Deepika what do you teach
Programming in C.
please pick a safe job what we are working is not safe anymore and I don't think any other job is safe anymore So people who are coding, I was just chatting with a person from Accenture who is having 22 years of experience. He works with data governance. So his task is to see that what kind of unstructured data that we get within a complete organization. We want to restrict access to that data. The outsiders should never be able to access it. That is the basic job of the person. I asked him, how safe are you feeling with these tools coming in, creating code, software, anything that you ask for with it? He said there are two answers. One is the real answer that I will not let you know immediately. But what we tell each other is, कुछ नहीं होगा भाई, everything is okay. सब कुछ ठीक है. ML can't do what we can do. So that is the kind of answer people give to each other in software industry today. Specifically if they are my age, so they know ज़्यादा सीखने का टाइम नहीं बचा है. अब कितना सीखोगे? बहुत सीख चुके हैं, अब छोड़ दिया सीखना. अब और सीखना नहीं है तो या तो रिटायरमेंट पहले आएगी या ऑब्सोलीट पहले हो जाएगी. So they work with the scenario that by the time we retire, by that time तो कुछ दिक्कत नहीं होगी, इसलिए अभी तक हमारी जॉब सेफ है. ऐसा वो एक दूसरे को बोलते हैं. और एक्चुअली जो रियल आंसर है दैट ही केम अप विद लेटर, जब तक किसी भी एंटरप्राइज को ये डर है कि उसका डेटा लीक हो रहा है, सिर्फ तभी तक वो एमएल यूज नहीं कर रहे, मशीन लर्निंग और एआई. The day they get confident कि our data is safe, they'll fire 80% of the staff immediately. That is the kind of scenario people are working in the software industry today. So the only risk why people are not firing right away is they know that people who are working for us are loyal. They would not leave. We can sue them. We can recover the cost of lost data from them. But what if a machine does, because we incorporated Claude leaked our data outside, who to sue? And on the top of it, the model always says, I can make mistakes, please use your own thought process before applying. That is the scenario that people are working with. So, but the thing is, we submitted a research paper to a journal and we specifically mentioned that for these parts we have used a Copilot, some chatbot, this for this purpose, this for this purpose, this. That was death rejected. That you can't do this. What if we would simply paraphrase whatever we did, as we all do? We find something from the net, we paraphrase it, we want to avoid plagiarism, but we have some original idea that we do work on. उसके आगे पीछे जो भी text भरना है, that text at least can be allowed by LLM. Just go into the idea that I am trying to say. Don't go into the text that I am trying to supplement it with. That can be done by LLM. अभी वो rejected है. To another journal with a high APC, they accepted it immediately. So it is not a question of whether they are allowing this or not. It is always about whether it is suiting them or not. So दोनों scenarios है. You can analyze your data with it. You can keep writing the way you were writing originally, but you will have a better understanding of how your data is if you are visualizing it well. If you understand. And the easier part is, if you know there is a base paper, upload that to Note together. Talk to it. What was the process steps followed in taking the data set up to analyzing it and getting all the results? What steps were followed? You have your prompt ready. Give it to any large language model, upload a paper, ask for this paper what logical steps would be followed from uploading of the data set up to finding the same result that it is got. You have your steps, the pipeline complete, that these are the steps to be followed. They become your prompts for your own data set. So you don't even need to know what is the methodology to achieve from this particular data set to final result. That upload a paper, ask it that what are the steps that have been followed. That should work. Yeah. Julius is fine. Now comes to your assignment. How many of us have submitted the second? We are yet to आज कल तक. See, what is the purpose of the assignment? We have to become mentors from this. One, picture. Two, if you believe any of this
assignment की डेट 7 तारीख की थी
in perpetuity for a single tool, it does not work.
7 थी ना.
So, working with AI is supposed to be a thought process that you have to think about that this is a problem. I have access to these all things. What best use can I put one to? From the output of one, what best use can I apply to the second stage, then the third, then the fourth, and so forth. It would never be a single tool which works everything for you. Except if it is Manus. Have you seen Manus yet? किसके पास access है? You have
Just a free trial access.
you have access?
I do not know right now. I am having around 10 to 15 days back access. So it was working at that time. But a free version is limited to it.
You have completed all the credits. You have credits left or not? It would work all the time.
Actually, I checked earlier.
आपके पास है. You have used some credits. Can you log in? No, you have to log in. Can you log in your account? अच्छा, Vinay sir is saying that we have a break for tea. We'll come back. See Manu. अभी डर लग रहा है after seeing Julius. After Manu, we will take it. Please raise hand.
For this, Sachin will
be giving the template for a capital project. Okay. And we will be submitting the project before Monday. So that we will be choosing around 4 projects for presentation in front of our chair. Because he is very much interested in AI. With his interest only everything started. So he knows about the things here, how the things are moving from session to session and all that. So today I had a word. All the management people who supported this definitely will be there along with the Chancellor, Chairman, and we will be seeing all the 4 presentations we will be selecting. After that, certificates will be given to. This is a very nice cooperation, I told him, and this kind of FDP, as far as myself is concerned, I have not seen in recent 5 years. People coming seriously, people attending seriously, doing the quiz, submitting the assignment. People won't believe, even if I say that we had 3 tests, 5 quiz, believe me, people come for certificate only, will be online. Okay, I have seen many, this is my 11th job, starting from my VAT Vellore. I know how the things are deteriorated. But at these circumstances, I am finding it very unusual here. People coming and attending and taking part in all the discussion and deliberations. And everything is discussed today, and he will be coming there on Tuesday to see exactly what we are doing. And I think you found it interesting, whatever the model we prepared with our little knowledge of generative AI. Still we are learning one by one. And last week we practiced with Julius, and then today he is giving us Julius. A lot of data science is done. From now onwards we will not be meeting, of course, but my only request is you develop data science first. Instead of going for different models and all that, knowledge of data science is very, very important. So I asked a girl from Accenture, she was sitting next to me in the flight. So what do you do actually? Data science we teach in the class. What do you do? Altogether it was different. हम क्या करते हैं सर, एक डेटा सेट तो टीम लीडर दे देता है, some 25 by 5,000 rows and 25 columns. What do you do? What the first thing you will do? Because I wanted to know how the industry performs on the data science. I teach by through the book set. What she told? For all the 25, I will draw the histogram first. Histogram. Again, EDA we talk. Okay. The very first thing they will do is they will draw 25 histograms and find out how many histograms are following Gaussian curve, normal distribution, and she removed 12 immediately out of 25. She was left with only 13 histograms. Then she told, first I will consider this. Then what do you do next? I will find out the outlier. How do you do it? I will draw a box plot. Automatically I will come to an outlier. Remove. So this way our students are not doing the project. Drawing some 13 histograms and then finding it. Then मैंने बोला then बाद में क्या करूँ? बाद में then I will give this 13 data points as a feature and then I will test the model. अगर model में accuracy कम आ गया, जो 12 मैंने छोड़ा था उसको एक को मैं इंक्लूड करते जाऊँ. या राइट साइड स्क्यूइंग है, लेफ्ट साइड स्क्यूइंग है, वो सब देख के मैं ऐड करूँगा. फर्स्ट थिंग इज दैट आई विल नॉट कंसीडर वो बॉस ने जो डेटा दिया था वो उसी को यूज कर. बॉस मेरे को टेस्ट कर रहे सर, इसके लिए वो ज़्यादा दिया है, कितना फिल्टरिंग करेगा वो देख रहे हैं। एंड शी वाज सो क्लियर इन हर आइडियाज। बाद में मैंने इंटरेस्ट लेके बात करने लगा। आई टू कम फ्रॉम बैंगलोर 2.5 hours कैसे बात। तो देन शी स्टार्टेड टेलिंग कितना क्या क्या करते आप लोग। देखो सर ये आपका हाउसिंग का ले लो, हाउसिंग में आपका नंबर ऑफ बेडरूम्स आर ओनली 2-3, आपका प्राइस है तो 2.5 crores, one data is in crores, another data is in decimals. So how can we do normalization? Our students won't do normalization party बोल जाते हैं लोग, डायरेक्टली डेटा लेने के लिए चाहते हैं, वो मॉडल बाउंस होने लगता है। ये छोटे छोटे चीज़ है ना, along with this writing a prompt, आप लोगों का डेटा साइंस, मैं बोलता हूँ मॉडल में तो बहुत सारा है। Somebody was talking an ensemble model, वो तो बहुत बोले डेटा में जो आप परफेक्ट हो गए, डेटा साइंस में बेसिक्स ऑफ डेटा साइंस है। सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू कंडक्ट half a day session for generative apps for data science. That is very good. तो लड़की ने बहुत अच्छी जवाब दी। तो जनरेटिव एप्स पहले आपको एप्स पढ़ाओ बच्चों को डेटा साइंस में। जिस कॉलेज में बच्चा डेटा साइंस में अच्छा कर रहा है तो वहाँ पे प्लेसमेंट। मेन प्रॉब्लम प्लेसमेंट में डेटा का बारे में, डोमेन नॉलेज के बारे में ये दिस मैसेज यू गेट ओके एंड ट्राई टू रीड मेनी और सम साइट्स। डेटा साइंस में परफेक्शन है, जावा पाइथन में जाओ जाके आपने कैगल में डेटा कैसे क्लीन करें। कैगल में अगर क्या है वो तो डेटा ऑलरेडी क्लीन है, वो डेटा लेके कभी काम मत करो, वो ऑलरेडी क्लीन है, ऑलरेडी लर्न। बिकॉज उसके बाद मेरे को काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट आया जब आई स्टार्टेड रीडिंग हिस्टोग्राम्स। हिस्टोग्राम में कितना है, वहाँ पे बायसिंग वगैरह। वो लड़के बोले सर हिस्टोग्राम में तो हम इतना स्टडी करते हैं, कॉलेजेस में तो हिस्टोग्राम कभी पढ़ते ही नहीं। हिस्टोग्राम में मैंने बोलता हूँ डेटा इज बैलेंस्ड और नॉट। अगर अनबैलेंस्ड होगा तो डेटा मॉडल बिकम्स अंडर फिटिंग, ज़्यादा वेरिएंस होगा तो इट बिकम्स ओवर फिटिंग। सो आई हैव टू हैव ए ट्रेड ऑफ बिटवीन अंडर फिटिंग एंड ओवर फिटिंग। वो सब हम हिस्टोग्राम में देख लेते। बोले हम तो पढ़ते नहीं है इसको, हिस्टोग्राम तो जाता कहाँ लेते डायरेक्टली उसको एक्सप्लोरेटरी डेटा मतलब क्या होता है यूजिंग एक्चुअली प्रैक्टिकल वो इंडस्ट्री ऑलरेडी बता सकते। इसलिए थैंक यू वंस अगेन फॉर ऑल योर कोऑपरेशन।
In the meanwhile, while we were on break, there are 2 or 3 queries that I want to now discuss. One was from this segment. There is a available open source. You have to get into the repository, find Facebook or Meta segment editing model, try how to use it, apply it. It just extracts the image embedding and creates a bounding box in every part of it separately. You could extract everything from the image. Depends what level of even you have to be microscopic. So creating that part separately of the object can be. This one is not even a box. It can even extract the complete image without a box. Your question was second, so that is what it is. We'll discuss this more. So the second question was that somebody wanted an algorithm to be written. Now, don't get into that Julius only. This is collab. This is from Google. Correct? So what was the query again?
So it's stating that we have to
Collab was a go-to tool which we use for Jupyter Notebook like of environment where you could interactively write consecutive lines. Collab came with something up. Let us try to run. So it needs to have a data set, but it gives you the code what you require. Okay. If you can give it a file, you can upload your file here and you can tell what data set do you want to apply it on. It should work with that. If you say you want to create a bounding box, okay. So there are two parts, start coding or generate with AI. Write a program to create a bounding box against the uploaded image for instant segmentation. This is the easiest approach. I mean, it's not optimal, but just simply using computer vision, CV2 library, OpenCV, identifying and creating might not be suitable. You ask for how do you create a comic panel. Which one do you like better? You are prompted on the screen. You say create a 4-panel comic strip that tells a short humorous story about. You change the topic here only. Each panel should advance the plot, include dialogues or captions that enhance the humor likewise. So you would also have to tell panel 1 format is description and dialogue, panel 2 is description and dialogue / caption. For all the 4 panels you have to talk about. Tell the style, give the aspect ratio, it should work. Or search for OpenAI prompts or Gemini prompt for generating a comic strip panel.
So what is this?
This is on Sora. Sora is available, it's rolling out. It would be soon available with all of your accounts, but I have 5 Google accounts, out of which I have got it on 2, not on 3 yet. So I don't know when it gets rolled and how does it get rolled. So that was 3 queries. I don't think anybody else was. Did I miss some query by anybody else? Ma'am had a query. Do you have a free account of Junior? I can give you one code for 1 week. You can use it all you want to. Over? Now I will tell you the assignment part. Before sending it. So what your assignment capstone is going to be this time. We are going to apply AI tools to solve real life problems across diverse. आप अपना domain choose करो. We are not asking you to pick which domain, whatever you want to work with. You will be writing a comprehensive AI-powered transformation suite in your chosen domain that addresses a sector-wide pain point. If you are in law, what pain point do you feel they are in law? If you are in commerce, what pain points are there in commerce? If you are in business, if you are in if you are in HR, whichever domain you are working for, what are the pain points? Find one. Finding this would be easy if you are using LLMs again. So your prompt should be clear that how did you arrive at this specific pain point is one. Then you are going to give me a solution. It should involve multiple AI tools, cross-functional integration, what output, which tool the output goes to which tool as a input. Okay. So there is one example. So you can develop a prototype that connects user systems via chatbot, then generate personalized health education content using images or videos, then sends alert to nearby clinic. You may add a website, you may add a software, whatever you want to create with it, you should be able to do it. The standard domains can be something, some example that I have taken. For education, you can have a AI tutor chatbot for exam preparation or AI design courses using ChatGPT, Sora, Prezi, that can be one. For healthcare, it can be a diagnosis assistant, prompt-based medical research assistant. For law, it can be contract summarizer or legal query chatbot trained on Indian law. Pick up any. Find what is something that I can automate. Find what is a process that I keep on doing usually, but I can now automate it using AI and it can be very good and helpful to my own domain. For electricity, for instance, we may create something which is capable of what is the carbon footprint of different industries, how do I track that carbon footprint, what is the, can I create an application which would be allowing me to track? What data should I collect prior? There is a lot that you would require to do with it. This would be your summary that you would submit it, right? Define a problem, establish clear goals, select and justify at least 5 tools, document a categorized set of prompts that what are you doing, why did you choose that prompt, illustrate system architecture like with tools like napkin or teardraw or any other drawing tool that you want to work with, develop a functional prototype using no-code platform or you can simulate it with the tools. Okay. Then outline a strategy for data source plan. Conduct a detailed risk-benefit analysis, bias, privacy, compliance, ethical implications, and present a model as either a business value with ROI and cost savings or the societal impact. I have given you your assignment that how would you structure it also, what can you choose, what domains can you pick, what examples that you have can be taken. Now, one question may come that what if our work is not data intensive? Perfectly fine. It would be concept intensive if it is not data intensive. Right? So think of concepts. If it is not into data, you can think about concept. This should take you roughly 5 to 6 days. If you give it an hour. Don't try to rush it. Please. Don't try to rush the assignment 2 also, please. Because for assignment 2, I will be asking 3 of you to evaluate it using an AI. Then pass on the rubrics to the AI, they will pass on your assignment also to the AI and they will ask you to evaluate. आपकी जो assignment 1 थी, I had no role in checking it. Absolutely none. What we did, all of you uploaded your assignment to Google Drive. Right? I took that folder, I attached it to my Perplexity account, I gave it a set of rubrics, I said evaluate each of the assignments on the basis of the rubric given and create a table that would give me a summary of what is the result for each of the participants. It wouldn't work for all the other accounts. No, Perplexity Pro it does work. But then I had to think of that how do I create a summary for each one of you that tells you that what was good, what was the strength, what was the weakness, which portion could have been done better. I have all those reports on my system. Still, I am not sharing them because this is a faculty forum. That who did the best was enough. Who did the second best was maybe a very small margin from the best to the second best. But that again was not my choice. That again was the choice which was made by the AI which actually checked the assignment. So, at the best, you could have been the marginal difference between the best to the second best. At the worst, you might have been very bad, but we are not disclosing that what was your parameters of assignment. My boss has a copy, for sure. Okay, but that shouldn't actually be any dead end. Your second assignment, please keep in mind, I have already given you what are the ways we are going to evaluate. We are not stopping you from using LLM. We are not stopping you from using any tools. How good are you using those tools to work would be your choice. Okay. I gave access to one tool. She had it. Perplexity was with 3 people. I'll show you something out of the world now. Because you don't have access to it, that's why I can demonstrate. I have only 767 credits. It burns credits like super fast. I'll stop once I have enough material collected. Of this system. On the right hand is the task that I am given. On the left it is the computer of this AI which it is using by itself. It would go to a website, browse it, search for data, come back to whatever task I have given. It would evaluate that. After running through the benchmark, it first created a to-do list on the basis of what I have given. It It would now pick each of the tasks one by one, find out the relevant content from the website, bring it back, keep on collecting data, but it burns my credits like very fast. So the task progress is identify AI solution opportunity, design a comprehensive transformation to develop a tool stack and prompt engineering.
सबका यही करेंगे सबका यही करेंगे टॉपिक दे दें
और वो जो टॉप 4 होंगे ना वो भी सारे
I'll show you.
She is in that criteria, sir. She is in that criteria.
शेयर योर आईडी.
In the process, it creates the files which I require. So there is a to-do list it created, the checklist. So domain challenge summary, research the technical education pain point, identify stakeholders, document correct limitation, establish clear project goals, define measurable outcomes, then select 5 tools, justify tool selection. These were the tasks he was supposed to do on its own
ये वैसे भी प्रो वाले बंदे कर सकते हैं.
and create a final presentation also.
हम तो जैसे इतना लिमिट.
So we gave it a question earlier. This was the question that we gave. We asked you to deeply analyze the stock market situation across the globe right now and suggest 5 best stocks to buy in India. This was 16 days back. Okay. What does the prompt will do? How many? What data would it collect? How would it find what is suitable or not? Check what it did. Created a market analysis report with the executive summary, 5 recommended stocks, global market overview, key economic indicators. इस पे से आधी से ज़्यादा टर्म मुझे पता नहीं है. To be very honest. Right. In the meanwhile, it also created a program in Python which would be able to analyze the stocks. In the process, it also created a stock program for Indian market. That means stocks which were related to only India. And it uses the terminal by itself. So this was the list that it was supposed to be working on. And I can replay. Recommended data. You can create a website for doing this also for every time next to talk. No, I had a very limited number of invites for it. I sent it to your group. Back then, they are not working anymore. So she got it. She had 1,000 credits. One query sets me off by roughly 300 to 350 query credits. Single query. But it does the task too. This is what is the future of. This is agentic. This is ODAC. This uses multiple technologies together. It passes on the data from one type of tool. Like browser uses one tool. It would use the browser, fetch the data. Code is another tool. It would call the code, create the code. Whatever data fetching from the browser, give it to the code. So this works between agent to agent. This is yet another thing that you might want to. If you get hands on, nothing like it. Ask your friend if anybody has got access. Initially it starts working with Apple machines only back then when I shared. I don't know what the status now. Okay. Ma'am, I found a workaround. I would take Apple machine for my friend, create the account, then it runs on any machine after that, once your account is created. Any other? Achha, we are in the process of designing the certificates for all of you. The certificate distribution will be next week. One. Two. Next week, we will draw lots of who all amongst you are presenting their capstone project. So your capstone project you will be presenting whatever you have created. We will be presenting that here. Not for all, maybe 10 people, so that we can complete. That these were the presentations. That may be by lot, that may be by the way what you have submitted is very good, but we evaluate it first. And trust me, evaluation takes time. I mean, 50 people assignment is not an easy task. It takes time to read in, to understand what they have done and assess. So please do your best with the assignment too, with the capstone. Capstone is essential because you will be giving the same challenges to the people you will be mentoring later. You might be training, you might be mentoring, you might be actually giving assignments to the people and cross-checking how far are they doing good. You may be telling them what is the tool usage should have been, what chain of tools should you be using for this specific task, anything. But for that matter, if you have come so far from where you started to now and you have used a lot of tools, I believe that there would be much good that would come to you if you take up one challenge project, try to apply different parts of or different tools of AI to that same. तो आपकी assignment checking के लिए I checked 3 tools, 4 rather. First, ChatGPT would give me what is the rubric. Second, Perplexity would allow me to connect my drive and pass on the rubric and the prompt for checking. Then Notebook LM is going to give me a tabular summary for all of them. Right? Then I would actually correlate the tabular summary with each of the individual files back to Perplexity. So it would not be a single tool because Notebook LM मुझे first time पता चला कि 55 की maximum limit है. Thankfully, our participants submitted 49 assignments, so it worked. I don't want to open that here because once that opens, उसपे सारे scores हैं. I am just not just opening right here. Okay. That is one. Then the second assignment which you submit, we'll evaluate again. We'll have 5 people who will get 1 year of Perplexity Pro for free after the second assignment is evaluated. Capstone पे और बात है वो पकड़ चलेगा. Whosoever presents on the capstone day, ये भी चलेगा. Say yes क्या सोच क्या रहे इतना? What can go wrong at the first? अच्छा हुआ तो हमने किया है, बुरा हुआ तो AI ने किया है. Are you even thinking? So, alright, any more request, anything that you feel we should have done this during the live session? We missed out on this. This is the problem that we wanted to talk about, or this is a challenge that we want to solve with AI. We are open. Now, any question that you have, anybody wants to ask, because, and I know for sure, another thing that I would commit to this. I wouldn't say that if you have a problem, we'll always be able to find solution for it. There is not sure. With AI also we get in trouble after spending a lot of time. It's not necessary we find a solution. We try a different approach. sometimes it works, sometimes does not. But one thing is for sure, you have a problem statement, you have a data set, or you want to solve something using AI, and you say, sir, I have this problem statement, or this data set, or this analysis to be done, or this something to be created. Please feel free to walk in my office any point of time. Please check if I don't have a class, that's all. Please feel free to walk in with your problem, because it gives me also a learning opportunity that how would I solve this, something new which I haven't seen prior. That helps me to learn a lot more when I see some new problem coming up, that yes, this is one. So we learned a lot of things doing this way only, that there were challenges which we did not know how to solve, but then we tried to do it in shorter time, better than what we would otherwise have done. Applied AI, that works out good, and eventually that tool chaining becomes a part of your brain thought process. Your cognitive process is in tool chaining again, that yes, I have this problem, I can apply these 4 or 5 tools and this would be solved. That works only after you have started applying this to pick up one challenge per week, that this is a task that I like, either I dislike, it's very boring, I want to automate it, or this is a task that takes much of my time, I want to reduce the time. Pick up those tasks. Don't pick up the task like interacting with your student. That is the most important. That is the task which actually makes us better teachers. You want to create your lesson plans, AI is there to help. You want to create your question papers, AI is there to help. You want to assess them, AI is there to help. You want to create detailed project reports. आज के दिन में अगर मुझे मेरी थीसिस लिखनी होगी PhD की, I wouldn't take more than a month. What it took 4 years previously, it would take more than a month today. For the same data, for the same analysis, for the same type of insight that we could bring in. Not even month. तो अगर आप PhD कर रहे हो, there is no better time for you to be working on your thesis than today. You have a paper which has some modification. Put the data set out to this. Analysis. See, okay, there are 2 parts. The question is, whatever we generate, could it be checked by a plagiarism tool or not? Am I correct? Whatever text you generate, Turnitin would not catch it to be more than 12 to 16%. But AI similarity would catch it to maybe 90%, maybe to 80%, maybe to 100%. Because the sentences have a structure that is coming only through generative AI. Text के लिए I would never recommend, if you are submitting a paper or writing a thesis, I would never recommend doing it through AI. But analysis of data, no harm, no foul. Best thing you can do is use AI tools. Because if I am not very good with Python programming or with machine learning, and I have to apply machine learning, this is my chance. I would have never been able to do it previously. Please keep the plagiarism part out of this discussion, because that is something that you would find yourself in trouble with also. Submitting, getting a desk rejection, there is no point in that. But the harder part was analysis, the harder part was visualization. And those challenges are now being easily met.
So can you please provide a list of all the tools that we can use for different purposes that we discussed in the entire
For paper, पूरे सेशन में सारे कौन से tools हैं? You have जो आपका assignment का cover page आपके पास आएगा. It has a list of all the tools that we have discussed. I have purposely put all the tools that we discussed on the cover page of your capstone project so that you know, you can recall. उसमें सारे नहीं है. उससे ज़्यादा हम लोगों ने कवर किया। Alright, I will not take more of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Vinay sir will have your certificate to change. इसलिए बता रहा हूँ ताकि if in there is any delay in the certification process, you know the person.
आगे